Good morning. I am Sunanda. So from CSC department, G. Pullareddy Engineering College. So today we will see regarding the decision statements in Python programming language. So far whatever the statements we write in a program will be written in a sequence, right? So the program we have considered so far, the execution of that program will be done in a line by line fashion. So the statements execution will be done in a sequential manner or line by line. So whatever the program we have written, so the execution based upon the position of the statements will be executed. So the control flow in such a program is sequential. So what is meant by control flow? Control flow refers to the order in which the program statements are executed. So the control passes within a program in a line by line fashion or in a sequential fashion. So this process is similar to reading the text, figures and tables on a page of a book, right? So decision statements mainly help the programmer in transferring the control from one statement to the another statement in a program. So there might be some situations where the programmer want to decide which part of the program to be executed and which part of the program is not to be executed. Or there might be a situation where the programmer want to shift the control of the flow from one place of a program to the another place. In such a situation, decision-making statements can be used by the programmer. Decision-making statements use conditions which are similar to the Boolean expressions. So, based upon the decisions like either true or false, the set of the statements to be executed or not, the decision will be taken by the programmer. So, the programmer decides whether he want to continue the flow of execution or whether he want to shift the flow of control to some other place within the program. So that decision is made by the programmer using decision making statements, right? So whenever he want to take a decision, so it might be the decision like true or false, and that true or false we call it as a Boolean data type. So the Boolean type in Python is called as what? Bool. Okay, so whenever you want to know the type of true or false, you can just mention function as type and then mention true. So then it will give the output as type bool, type bool, right? So this is the output which you get. So this particular true is belongs to a class called as a bool, right? Remember that whenever you are using these Boolean types, you have to use true or false with the T capital letter and F as capital letter, right? So this is the output. Whenever you type of true, so then it give class bool. So that means true and false belongs to a class called as a bool. So what is the relation between decision making statements and Boolean type is, so the output of a decision will be true or false. So the output of the decision whether to continue with the sequential flow of execution or not will be decided by the programmer based upon the Boolean value true or false, right? So Boolean operators, along with the Boolean operators, we will be working with the logical operators in decision making statements. So the logical operators like and, or, and not are mainly comes with the combination of the Boolean operators. So these particular Boolean operators will be the output of the logical operators. So that's why instead of calling the logical operators, we will be calling and, or, and not as Boolean operators also. As this and, or, and not will give the output either true or false, so we are calling them as logical as well as Boolean operators, right? So and it mainly specifies whether a particular, whenever you consider two values, if the first value is true, the second value is also true, then and will give the output as, and will give the output as true. In other cases, it will give the output as false. Whereas coming to the R, if both the operators is false, it will give the output as false, otherwise true. This is for R. And coming to the not, it is very it is different to that of and R. So and or will be specified as binary operators, binary logical operators, where we are working with the two operands at a time. Whereas coming to the not, which is mainly called as unary logical operator or a Boolean operator, where a specific value will be negated or will be we can consider it as like it is opposite. So if I take the true value, then if I apply not to this, then the output will be false. If I take the false value, not false will give the output as true. It's an opposite value. Okay, so it negates the value or it inverts the value. So the not operator is a unary operator, unary Boolean operator. So here we are using only one operand at a time. So we are calling it as unary operator. So it takes only single operand and negates or inverts its Boolean value. So if the value is true, it gives the output false. If the value is false, it gives the output as true. So if we apply the not operator on an expression having false value, then it returns a true value. Similarly, if we apply the not operator on an expression having true value, it returns a false value. So it will negate or it will invert the value. It will give the opposite value as an output. So example is like, so not true gives output as a false, not false gives the output as true, right? So coming to the AND operator, so as I mentioned, it is a binary operator because it is performed on the two operands. AND operator takes two operands, performs left to right evaluation to determine whether both the operands are true. So why we are mentioning the left to right means, if I take the true, if I take this is the first operand and the second operand. If the first operand is true, then only it will check with the second operand. Because based upon the second operand only, the value will be generated. Either true or false will be generated. If the first operand is true, then I will be checking with the second operand. So if it is true, it will give the output as true. If the first operand is true, then I will be checking with the second operand. So now it is true, it is false. So true and false will be the false. So if the first operand is true, I need to depend on the second operand. If the first operand is false, I no need to check with the second operand. I can directly mention the output as based upon the first operand. So if the first operand is true, I need to concentrate on the second operand. If the first operand is false, then no need of checking the second operand. So the value will be the false all the time. So if at all it is a false or if at all it is a true, I don't care. So it will be based upon the first operand. If it is false, no need of checking with the second operand value. So the value will be, the result will depend on the first operand only. So that's why the associativity of AND operation will be from left to right, from left to right. So the left operand, that means the first operand, based upon that only the output will be determined. If it is true, we concentrate on our second operand. If it is false, we don't even look at the second operand value. The output will depend upon the first operand only, right? So the Boolean AND is true if and only if both the operands are true. So whenever you apply the AND Boolean operator, the value or the result will be true if both the operands are true, otherwise it will be false. Okay, so here I have considered X and Y. So this is my first operand, this is my second operand. The first operand is true, so that's why I need to check with the second operand. So this is true, so the output will be true. The first operand is true, so I need to check with the second operand. It is false, the output will be false. Now I will check with the first operand. No need of checking with the second operand, the output will be false. If the first operand is false, automatically the result will also be the false, right? So this is an example of the AND operator. True and true will be the true, true and false will be false, false and true will be false, and false will be false. And coming to the OR operator, so here based upon if the at least one operand is true, it will give the output true, otherwise false. At least one, minimum one value should be the true, then it will give the output true. So here whenever you are considering the OR operator, it is also a binary operator, because here whenever you are applying the OR operator, we need two operands for applying the OR operator, right? So two operands, based upon the output of the two operands, we can determine the result. Two operands result, that means two operands value is important and it has to be considered here. So if the operand 1 is true, automatically the result will also be the true. If the operand 1 is true, then no need of checking with the second operand, the output will be the true. If the operand value is false, then here we have to concentrate on the O2. That means operand 2. So if it is false, then the operand 2 also false, then the output will be false. If it is true, the output will be true. So if the operand 1 is true, no need of concentrating on the operand 2. Directly the result will be based upon the operand 1. If the operand 1 is false, then the output or the result will be based upon the operand 2. If the operand 2 is false, then the output will be false. If it is true, then the output will be true, right? So here the main condition what we have to follow is the OR operator will result the true if at least one of the operands is true, otherwise it returns false. So that means x1 is my first operand, x is my first operand, y is second operand. I am applying x or y. So here what it do is, so x value is true. So as the x value is true, at least one. So that means either x or y is true, the output will be the true. So here x value is true, no need of checking with this particular y. So the output will be same as that of the x. As it is true, the result is also true. Next, x value is true, so no need of checking with the y value, so the output is true. Next, x value is false. Now I need to check with the y value, so the result will depend upon this second operand y. So what is the output here? If it is false, then I have to check with the y. As y is true, the output is true. This is false, so I have to check with the y. As y is true, false, the output is false, like that. So whenever you are applying the OR operator, we have the two operands, and if the first operand is true, no need of checking with the second operand. The result will be the based upon the first operand only. If the first operand is false, then we have to check with the second operand, and the result will depend upon the second operand. So this is opposite to that of the AND operator. So these are the Boolean operators or logical operators. So in C, we used to have ampersand, two ampersand symbols as logical AND, logical OR, and logical NOT. But here, instead of using these symbols, we are using the same values, that means the names as itself we are using, like AND, OR, and NOT. So we are using the names itself. So no need of using symbols in Python. Right? Using numbers with the Boolean operators. How we can use a Boolean, whenever we use a Boolean operators with the numbers, some of the examples looks like this. Not 1, it gives the output as false. 1 indicates the true, 0 indicates the false. This is a false, 1 indicates the true. So the not 1 is nothing but opposite of true is false. Not 0 indicates it is true. Right? So not 0.0, 0.0 is also 0, so it gives the output as true. So 1 will be substituted by the true and 0 as false. Right? So the Boolean expressions and relational operators. So relational operators in Python mainly specifies the relation in between the values or in between the operands. So we have mainly equal relational operator, equality relation, not equal relation, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So these are the relational operators we have in Python. So Boolean expression is an expression that is evaluated either true or false. So the equal will produces the result true if both the operands are true. Otherwise it will result as false. So 2 equal to 2. So this is my first operand, this is my second operand. So operand 1 equal to operand 2. So the output will be true. A equal to 2, B equal to 2, A equal to B. So A will be replaced by 2, B also replaced by the 2. The output will be true. Right? So other relational operator supported is greater than. So this is a symbol for specifying the greater than. If the first operand is greater than the second operand, then it will result true. So this is my first operand, this is my second operand. So if the first operand is greater than the second operand, so it will result true. Otherwise it will result false. Like 4 greater than 5. So is 4 greater than 5? False. So it will give the output as false, like that. So less than, when the operand 1 is less than the operand 2, it will result true, otherwise false. Like if 4 less than 1. So is it true? Is 4 less than 1? No, right? So it gives output as false. Next, greater than or equal to. Here operand 1 should be greater than or equal to the operand 2. Like 4 greater than or equal to 5. 4 greater than or equal to 4. So these values gives the value true. So if I mention it like 4 greater than or equal to 4 or 4 greater than or equal to 3, it will give as, sorry, not 5, it's 3. 4 greater than or equal to 3, 4 greater than or equal to 4, it gives output as true. If I take it as 4 greater than or equal to 5, it's false, right? So it will check with equality as well as greater than. Next is less than or equal to. Here it will check whether the operand 1 is less than or equal to the operand 2. That means operand 1 less than operand 2, and also it will check with the equality. Operand 1 is less than operand 2. If it is, then it will result true, otherwise it will result false. And then we have the not equal to. Whether operand 1 is same as operand 2, it will give the false. If it is not same as operand 2, is 5 equal to 4? Is 5 same as 4? No. So that's why it is giving as true. So if like we can specify it as 4 not equal to 4, 4 not equal to 4, false, because 4 is same as that of the 4, right? So that's why it will give the output as false. So these are some of the relational operators in Python. So these relational operators, they will be giving the output as the Boolean values, so true or false. So they have a relation with the Boolean values. Okay, so these relational operators, logical operators, will be in relation or will come along with the Boolean operators, right? So this is a simple example which is where a program to prompt a user to enter the values of the 3 different variables and display the output of the following expression. So the expression is P greater than Q greater than R, P less than Q less than R, P less than Q and Q less than Z, P less than Q or Q less than Z. So here we are taking logical operators and R. These two operators are being used, and also we are using relational operator less than and greater than, right? So first I need to read. So how many variables are there here? So just we have to take the 3 variables P, Q, R, right? So P, Q, R, so considering, so reading, we can directly read the values, all the values like this. So specific values, if I mention P, Q, R equal to, and if I consider only one input statement also, based upon the values, variables we have mentioned, n number of the variables you mentioned, n number of the values can be read into these particular variables. So first I have considered P, Q, R. I have just read the values 1, 2, 3. Now whenever you read these values 1, 2, 3, P will store the value 1, Q will store the value 2, and R will store the value 3, right? So after that, what is the first condition I have? P greater than Q greater than R. So just checking with the condition, P greater than Q greater than R is, I am checking with the condition, what will be the output? So 1 greater than 2 greater than 3. Is 1 greater than 2? What will be the output here? 1 greater than 2 is false, that means 0. False is 0 greater than 3. So is 0 greater than 3? False. So the output will be the false. Like that. Next I am checking with the condition P less than Q less than R. So 1 less than 2 less than 3. First I will be checking with this condition. Is 2 less than 3? Condition is true. So what 1 less than 2, first it will check. Condition is true. So what will be the output? True means 1. 1 less than 3, condition is true. So it will give the output as true, right? So whenever you are evaluating this expression, you have to move from left to right. So this 1 less than 2 is evaluated first, and the output of this is being checked with this 3. Now the output will be the true, right? So next I am checking with the condition P less than Q and Q less than R. P less than Q and Q less than R. So here P is 1, 1 less than Q is 2 and next value is 2 less than 3, right? So 1 less than 2 condition is true. So if the first value is true, then I need to check with the second value. So and 2 less than 2 is also true. 2 and true and true is what? True. So the output is true. Next, P less than Q and or Q less than R. So 1 less than 2 or 2 less than 3. So 1 less than true, 2 is true. So R. So as the first value, first operand is true, so no need of checking with this particular expression. So it is true R. So that's why the output will be the true. So either I can get true or false here, I don't mind. So based upon the first operand value as it is true, so the output will also be the true, right? So this is a program where you are reading 3 variables and applying both logical and relational operators. So coming to the decision making statements, Python supports various decision making statements. These statements are if statement, if else, nested if statement, multi-way if else statements. So these are the decision making statements available in Python for a programmer to make decisions. Coming to the if statement, we have the if statement. The syntax of the if statement is the if condition statements, or if at all you have only single set of a statement, if condition colon and then that statement can be mentioned beside the colon. So here whenever you are specifying the condition is specified here colon and then these set of the statements will be indented. These indented statements will be treated as a suit of if statement. So this we call it as a body, this we call it as a suit. Suit, this is body, right? So body and suit are separated with the colon. If statement execute, if a statement within this particular, that means the condition within this particular if statement is true. So if suit will be executed if the condition is true, which is specified in the body, right? So the syntax of the if will be specified by if keyword, if keyword, and then we have to mention the condition. So based upon the condition, either you can specify it within the parentheses or not, that is not mandatory. So it is based upon the convenience of the programmer. And then this colon is compulsory. We have to keep it as a mandatory, and then we have to mention the suit of statements which follow the same indentation. So these statements will be specified as a body of this particular if conditional statement. When the condition is satisfied, these set of the statements will be executed. So the body of this particular conditional statement and its suit will be separated by this colon, right? Condition is a Boolean expression which determines whether or not the body of the if suit will be executed. So if suit is to be executed or not will be determined by this condition. So if it is evaluated to the true, then the suit will be executed. If the condition is false, the suit will not be executed. The suit may contain one or more statements. If it is having one statement, then after the colon you can specify that statement. No need of specifying any indentation statements for the if statement. Next, the colon must always be followed by the condition. So after specifying the condition, you have to specify the colon. It's a mandatory. The statement or the statements are executed if and only if the condition within the if statement is true. So if this condition is true, the suit will be executed. If not, it won't be executed. So flow chart for the if statement looks like this. So this is a beginning, right? So next it will check with this condition. So as it is a decision statement, we are specifying with a rhombus symbol. If this Boolean expression is evaluated to the true, the suit statements will be executed. If it is false, then it will exit from the if statement. No statements of the if will be executed. So the points to be remembered when you are writing the if conditional statement is the statements must be indented. The statements are nothing but the suit has to be indented. These statements are to be executed when this Boolean expression is evaluated to the true. In case if there is more than one statement after the if condition, then each statement must be indented using the same number of spaces to avoid indentation error. So if I mention the condition like 2 greater than 1, right, colon. Now I will be specifying print. So in if statement, next print 2 is greater than 1. Now these two statements are indented with the same spaces, right? So 4 spaces or 1 tab space. So after the colon, whenever you use IDLE, it automatically goes to the indentation. And if this condition is satisfied, it will print as 2 is always greater than 1. So this is a condition, this is a colon, and this is a if keyword. So as this condition is true all the time, so it will print in the if statement, and in the next line it will print 2 is greater than 1. So if you want to print any statement, if this condition is false, then in such a case you have to go to the same line where if has been started, and from here you have to write the statement print out of if. So now this will be printed if this condition is false. As this condition is true all the time, these statements will be printed. Okay, so in order to avoid indentation, all the statements within the if, they have to follow the same spacing for indentation. So first, for the first statement, if you use 1 tab space, the same tab space has to be used for the second statement within the suit also. When you are away from the if suit, that means when you want to print any statement when the condition is false, then you have to move to the same line where if has been started, and from there you have to write the statements that you have to print. The statements within the if block are executed if the Boolean expression is evaluated to the true, right? So this is a program that prompts a user to enter 2 integer values, print the message equals to if both the values are equal. So it's a flow chart. So reading, as I am performing the read operation, so the parallelogram has been used. Read 2 numbers num1 and num2 from the user. After that, I need to check for the equality. So if the 2 values are equal, then the difference between them will be the 0. So the num1 minus num2 equal to 0. So that means if it is true, then both numbers entered or equal will be printed. Otherwise, I will exit from the loop. Right? So this is a program for this. Num1 I'm entering a number. So maybe I may enter the integer or a float. So I have considered eval, and then num2 same, reading the second number. So for the num1 I have considered num1 12, and for the num2 I have considered 12. So I will be checking with the condition if num1 minus num2 equal to 0. So num1 minus num2. So whenever you are checking for the equality, you have to use double equal symbol. So the 12 minus 12 equal to 0, condition is true. So that's why entering into the loop, the statement I have within the loop is both the numbers entered are 12. If I consider the num1 as num1 equal to 20, num2 equal to some 12. So 20 minus 12, so this will be equal to 0. 20 minus 12 is 8 equal to 0. The condition is false, so this statement won't get executed. So based upon your input, so we will be checking with the equality. So other way you can check is, you can check like num1 equal to num2. Okay, so if these two are equal, it will print both are equal, otherwise it won't print anything, right? So coming to the precautions, sometimes a programmer may need only when only if only one statement within a if block. So we have to take some precaution when there is only one statement within the if block. In this case, the programmer can write the block of the code in two different ways. Either he can mention it as a next line of the if statement, or else he can mention it directly after the colon. So these are the two ways. Either he can follow the indentation and write the statement, or he can directly mention it after the colon. So these are the two ways. So but if you are writing the statement like this, so a colon without following indentation, if you are writing the statement, then this is a wrong way. So if you are writing that single statement in the next line, then you have to follow the indentation. If you are writing it after the colon, no need of following any indentation. You can just write it as it is. So this is a precaution that the programmer has to follow when the if block is having only one statement, right? So this example program which prompts a user to enter the radius of a circle. If the radius is greater than 0, then calculate and print the area and circumference of the circle. So for this, what I am doing, for calculating the area of a circle, I need pi value. So that's why I am importing it from the math. From math, this is the package, and where I will be getting the pi value. So from math, that means I am telling the interpreter from a math package or a module, just import the value of pi to this program. So whenever you use the pi, so it may be like 3.142. So this value has been stored in the pi in the math package. So from there, this value will be retrieved and it will be replaced with the pi. Okay, so first statement is reading the radius value. So radius equal to eval. So as I may take the radius integer as well as a float, so that's why I am considering radius equal to eval input enter radius of the circle. So after reading this radius, so the radius I have entered is 5, right? So the 5 will be stored in the radius, Next, I will be checking with the condition. If the radius is 0, then I am unable to calculate the area and the circumference of a circle. So what condition I am checking here? So the radius is greater than 0. If this condition is true, that means phi greater than 0 condition is true. So these suit of the statements will be executed. So here all are being indented perfectly with the same space. So area will be calculated as phi into 3.142. So the output will be 78.54, right? So next, printing the area. So here 0.2f is after 4 some values will be available here. So instead of taking all the values after the decimal point, I am mentioning 0.2f. that means after the point just take the two values. If I mention 0.1f, after the point what is the value I have? 5. So it will print 78.5 like that. Okay, so if you want to print only two values after the decimal, you have to keep 0.2f. Based upon your convenient, you can place whatever the value you want here. And next, calculating the circumference, 2 pi r, 2 into 3.14, 2 into what is the value of r5. So the output is 31.42. So it will be printed. So here I am checking with this condition, and these are the suit of if condition. If the condition is satisfied, these suit of statements will be executed, otherwise they won't get executed. Say for example, I have read the radius value as 0. Now it will check with the condition 0 greater than 0. Condition is false. So no statements of these will be executed. It will exit from the program, right? Next is a if else. So if else is like it's the same as that of the if, but there might be situations where you want to execute some set of the statements if the condition of if the condition within the if statement is false. So here when the condition following the if is true, then it will be executed. Otherwise no statements are get executed. So to overcome that situation, if you want to execute some set of the statements, if the condition is false, then we go for if else statements. The syntax for this is if condition, if statements, else colon set of the statements. So here as we have in C, if else block, in the same way here also we will be having if else, but for the if we will be taking condition colon and suit of the if, and for the else also we have to take else colon and the suit of the else. Okay, so if it has a two blocks, one block is for the if, and it may contain one or more than one statement. The block is executed when the condition is true. The other block is for the else. The else block may also have one or more than one statement. It is executed when the condition is false. The keyword else should also be followed by what? Colon. Right? So it is mandatory to keep the colon after the else. So this is a flow chart for the if else. So for the if we have the same syntax here, boolean, and if it is true, the set of the statements will be executed, suit. If it is false, then it goes to the exit. So this is an exit. But here we have the two steps here. The first step, if it is true, the if statements will, if suit will be executed. If it is false, else suit will be executed. If it is true, if statements, if it is false, else suit or else statements will be executed. Right? So taking the same program, considering number 1 and number 2, I am checking with whether num1 is greater than num2. If it is greater than, it will print num1 is greater than, otherwise num2 is greater than num1, right? So initially considering num1, for the num1 I am reading 100, and for the num2 I am reading the value as 43, num1 and num2. So after reading the value, num1 greater than 100 greater than 43, condition is true. So this statement within the if will be executed as 100 is greater than 43. If I take the values like num1 43, num2 100, num2 100, reverse. Now it will check with 43 greater than 100. Condition is false, so this statement will not be executed. So it goes with the else statement, where the statement called num2 is greater than num1 will be printed. That means 100 is greater than 43 will be printed, right? So same is a program. Consider a program, calculate the salary of medical representative considering the sales bonus and incentives offered to him or based on the total sales. If the sales exceeds or equal to 1 lakh, follow the particulars of column 1, else follow the particulars of column 2. So I need to calculate the salary of medical representative. This will be followed, this particular data will be followed if the sales is greater than or equal to 1 lakh. Otherwise we will be following this. So this will come as a if statement, this will come on the else statement, else statements. So here sales equal to float of enter total sales of a month. Okay, so let us consider the sales if it is greater than or equal to 1 lakh. So the basic, they already mentioned the basic, HRA, DA, conveyance, incentive and bonus, all the values are been mentioned. So here I am taking the same formulas for calculating the values of basic, HRA, DA, incentive, bonus and conveyance. So if the value is less than 1 lakh, then I have to follow this particular column variable values, right? So this is the calculation, and the salary will be taken as, they have mentioned the salary, total salary, by considering bonus, incentives and all these values, like salary equal to basic, HRA, DA, incentive and conveyance plus bonus. All these total will give the salary. Now based upon the input, so I am considering sales equal to float. So what I have taken the sales value as 1 lakh. Okay, so 1 lakh greater than or equal to 1 lakh, condition, this condition is true. So I will be calculating the basic as 4,000, HRA equal to 20% of basic, DA equal to 110% of basic, incentive equal to sale 10% of the sales, bonus equal to 1000 and conveyance equal to 500. So these all values will be added, and total sales, I will be printing the total sales 1 lakh, basic is 4,000, HRA 20% for that means 800, DA 4,400 and incentives is 10,000, bonus 1,000, conveyance 500. Total if at all I add all this, then I will be getting the output as 20,700 will be the salary of that specific person. So I will be calculating based upon the basic 4,000, HRA 20%, DA 110% of basic, and the incentive as 10% of the sales, bonus 1,000, conveyance 500. So simple program for calculating the employee salary based upon the sales, right? So here I will be taking the set of the state values if the condition is true. I will be considering the set of the values if the condition is false, right? So here points to remember when you are using if else statement is, indentation is very important. The else keyword must properly line up with the else statement. That means wherever the if starts, the same line you have to follow to write the else statement, right? And after the else you have to keep the colon. If the programmer does not line up if and else in an exactly the same column, Python will not know that if and else will go together, so it won't consider this else as a part of this if. Okay, if you won't write it in a same line, consequently it will show indentation error. Both the statements within the if and the else block must be indented with the same amount. That means if you start the statement of the if here, the else statement should also start with the same indentation only. A program to test whether number is divisible by 5 and 10 or by 5 or 10. So 5 and 10, 5 or 10, we have to check with this condition. So divisible by, if there is any problem regarding it, then what we have to check is we have to use the modulo operator. So if we divide a number with a particular number and if it is equal to the 0, then we can call this particular number is divisible by 5. Okay, so in the same way, if I take a number, if it is divisible by 10, then the remainder should be 0. So the divisibility will be checked by using the modulus operator. So first taking the number as an input variable, and then I am checking with the condition. The first condition is divisible by 5 and 10, that's why I am using AND operator, and I am checking num percentage 5 equal to 0 and num modulo 5 equal to 0 and num modulo 10 equal to 0. That indicates that number may be divisible by 5 and may be divisible by 0. So it should divisible by both 5 and 10. So then I will be printing number is divisible by 5 and 10. Or there is another condition using the OR logical operator, where I will be checking with number divisible by 5 or number divisible by 10. So if it is, then I will be printing num is divisible by 5 or 10. Else I will be printing number is not divisible by 5, either 5 or 10. So if I take number value as 10, 20. If I take number as 20, so 20 is divisible by 20 modulo 5 equal to 0. Condition is true. And 20 modulo 10 is equal to 0. Condition is true. So this statement will be printed. So 20 is divisible by both 5 and 10. If I take the num value as 15 modulo 5 equal to 0, condition is true. 15 modulo 10 is equal to 0, false, condition is false. So the value of this is will be 5 equal to 0, false. So that's why it goes to the next statement, num is divisible by 5. So num is divisible by, this statement will be the true, this statement is false. So here it will give the output as 15 is divisible by 5 or 10. Either it may be divisible by 5 or 10. Next, if I take the value like 12 modulo 5 equal to 0, the output of this will be 2 equal to 0, false. So that's why it is false. Next, 12 modulo 10 equal to 0. So the output is 2 equal to 0, false. So both the conditions are false. So that's why it will print number. It goes to the else part. It will print 12 is not divisible by either 5 or 10. This will be the output. Right? So based upon your input, the condition checking will be done. So if this condition is true, the statement of this if will be executed. If this condition is true, this statement will be executed. If both the conditions are false, then this statement will be executed. Right? So nested if, there is like you can have n number of the if statements within another if statement. So you can have n number of if-else statements within a set of if-else statements. So when a programmer writes one if statement inside another if statement, we call it as nested if statement. If Boolean expression, so if this condition is true, then it enters into this set of the suit of the if. Again, within the suit, I am writing another if statement. If Boolean expression 2, this statement will be executed, else this statement. If this condition is false, this inner if will not be executed, this else statement will be executed. Here, this particular if, we call it as outer if else statement. This we call them as inner if statement, inner if statements, right? So program to read three numbers from the user to check if the first number is greater than or equal to the other two numbers. So we are reading three numbers and we are checking whether the first number is greater than or equal to the other two numbers. Num1, num2, num3. After reading three numbers, I am checking with, so first number is greater than or equal to the second number is first greater than or less than the other two numbers. First, number 1 will be checked with the number 2. If number 1 is greater than num2, again I will be checking with number 2 is greater than num3. If it is, then num1 is greater than num2 and num3. So else num1 is less than num2 and num3. So first what we do is, so within this particular inner, this is the outer if, this is the inner if, right? So I am taking the numbers 12, 34 and 56. So this is num1, this is num2, this is num3. First condition here, this is a first within the outer if, num1 is 12 greater than 34. Condition is false. Condition is false. So this if will not be executed. So coming out of the else statement, so coming out of the if statement, we'll go to the else statement. Here it will print 12 is less than num2 and num3. That means 12 is less than 34 and 56. And below it, if there are any statements, those statements will be executed. So this else part will be exit from the else part, will come out of the else. There is a statement, end of the nested if, it will be printed. Say if at all I have taken the reverse. So 56, 34 and the 12. Now it will check with the condition 56 greater than 34, condition is true, right? So entering into the inner loop, entering to the inner loop within the, entering into the inner if statement. So inner if statement, we have the 34 greater than 12, condition is true. So it will print 56 is greater than 34 and 12. If I take like 56, 12 and 34, it will check with number 1 greater than number 2. That means 56 greater than number 2 is 12 is true. So inside the inner if, 12 greater than 34 false. So coming out of this particular if, there is no else part for this. So we'll come out of this and just print not of the nested if. No more statements will be executed for this particular condition. So if I take values like this, so it won't print anything. As there is this condition, this if will be true, outer if will be true. So inner if it is false. So inner else, is there any inner else here? No. So that's why there are no more statements to be printed. So this else part will not be executed. So it comes out where we have a statement print which doesn't belongs to outer if or inner if or else. So we'll just print the statement end of the nested if, right? So there is another way, we will be calling it as multi-way if else statement. So in Python, we don't have the switch case. We don't have switch case. So where if the main usage of switch case is multiple condition checking, right? So multiple condition checking. So in order to use the functionality of, so in order to check multiple conditions, here in Python we have if else statement. So the main syntax for this is if boolean expression statement 1, elif another boolean expression statement 2, elif another set of boolean. So this is how you can write. So if elif statements in Python for multiple condition checking. Right? Multiple condition checking. So a programmer to prompt a user read the marks of 5 different subjects, calculate the total marks and the percentage of the marks, and display the message according to the range of the percentage given in the table. So he has to read all these percentages and he has to print this based upon these percentages, right? So here considering the marks, so as mentioned 5 different subjects, so reading 5 subject marks, and then I'm calculating the sum of all the marks and calculating the taking the percentage as just sum by 5. So instead of taking it as an average, I'm reading it as a sum. So total marks sum, I will be printing the sum value. Now say for example total percentage I got is sum 89. Okay, so now what it will check with the condition, if PER greater than or equal to 90, is 89 greater than or equal to 90? False. So it enters into the else part. Within the else I have the PER greater than or equal 89 greater than or equal to 80. Condition is true, so it will print first class. And say I have taken the percentage as 56%. So it will check with the first if 56 greater than or equal to 90. False. So next in the else part it goes to the first if 56 greater than or equal to 80. False. Next it goes 56 greater than or equal to 70. False. Next it checks with the 56 greater than or equal to 60. False. So last part is what? Else part. So it will print fail, like that. So we can this is how you can. So instead of writing nested if else statements, we can use elif. So elif, so which is nothing but else if, the same meaning of this and this is the same. So but instead of writing else and then if and then else, so we can just mention it elif PER greater than or equal to. This will be similar to that of switch case. So the same if else if statement can be rewritten as if elif else statement. This is similar to that of switch case statement in C, right? So this is how the flowchart looks. First it checks with the percentage greater than or equal to 90, and if it is true, print. If it is false, it checks with the greater than or equal to 80. If it is false, it will check with the greater than or equal to 70. It is false, greater than or equal to 60. If it is false, it will print fail, otherwise it will print pass, right? So here is a program to prompt the user to enter a day of a week. If he entered the day of a week is between 1 and 7, display respective name of the day. Okay, so if the person day, I am considering the name, enter the day of the week. If the day equal to 1, printing Monday, else if day equal to 2. So if I take 8 day, if I take for the day, value is 8. So first it will check 8 equal to 1, false. Again it goes to the next condition, 2, false. 8 equal to 3, false. 8 equal to 4, false. 8 equal to 5, false. 8 equal to 6, false. 8 equal to 7, false. 8 here else part. So it will be printing, sorry, week contains only 7 days. If I take a day as 6, so it will check again from starting. 6 equal to 1 కాదు, false. 6 equal to 2, false. 6 equal to 3, no, it's false. It's false. 6 equal to 4, false. 6 equal to 5, false. 6 equal to 6, condition is true, so it will print it's Saturday, like that. Okay, you can check n number of the conditions. So this is a simple program calculating mathematical operations based upon the choice. So if the user gives a choice 1 performing addition, choice 2 subtraction, choice 3 multiplication, choice 4 division. So if he give other than this choice like 5, 6, so on, so the output will be invalid choice. So just reading two values, num1, num2. So entering the choice. So if I give the choice as a 3, so num1 I have taken 10, num2 I have taken 2. So right, so now choice I have mentioned is 3. So it enters into the first, it will check with the 3 equal to 1, not 3 equal to 2, false. 3 equal to 3, condition is true, so it will perform the multiplication. 10 into 2, it will give 20 as output. If I give the choice as a 5, so it will check again. 5 equal to 1, false. 5 equal to 2, false. 5 equal to 3, false. 5 equal to 4, false. 5, so that's why it will give invalid choice. Sorry, invalid choice will be printed, right? So coming to the conditional expression, so in Python we don't have conditional operator which looks like this. So this we call it as a conditional operator. So it is similar to, it is a ternary operator where we will be having expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3. Expression 1 will be evaluated. If it is evaluated true, the expression 2 will be the output. If it is evaluated to the false, this will be the output. Expression 3 will be the output. So here in Python we don't have this conditional operator, or we don't have this ternary operator. So we have, instead of it, we go with the conditional expressions. The conditional expressions is like, so instead of writing the conditional statements in multiple lines, we will be writing in a simple single line. So here example, consider this example code. X modulo 2 equal to 0. If it is true, then I will be printing x value will be x into x. So that means square value will be calculated. If it is false, cube value will be calculated. To improve the performance of this particular simple if else, we will be going for the conditional expression. The conditional expression will be written in the single statement. These 4 lines of a code will written in a single line of a code. So what we have to do is, so just x equal to, so what is the output we are getting? X value. So x equal to, first x into x, the square will be calculated if x modulo equal to 0. Otherwise cube will be calculated. The same code will be written in a single line of code. So the syntax for this is expression 1 if condition, else expression 2. So which will look similar to that of ternary operator in C. Okay, expression 1 if condition, else expression 2. Expression 1 is a value of the conditional expression if the condition is true, right? So condition is a normal Boolean expression. It generally appears in front of the if statement. Expression 2 is a value of the conditional expression if the condition is false. Okay, so here I am considering number 1, number 2. I want to know the smaller number among the two numbers. So here this is a if statement. So I want to write it in the conditional format, conditional expression format. So what you can write this as is, so I am getting the min value as an output. So if I will be considering min equal to num1 if num1 num1 less than num2, num2 else num. Okay, so if this condition is true, num1 will be the minimum value, otherwise num2 will be the minimum value. So the same program with this is how you can print min equal to num1 if num1 less than num2, else print min equal to num2. This statement has to be written here itself, right? So here we don't have any ternary operator. Instead of it, we will be using conditional expression. Thank you. So this is regarding the decision statements.